I would give you an example. I think, for example, that
greetings, everyone.
in Virginia,
all right,
is doing a good job.
Welcome to my corner. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am making what? What am I making? You got it. I'm making soap. Exactly. That's what I'm doing. I'm making soap, and I'm listening to an interview with Chaney. I want be a Republican. Liz Chaney, if Trump becomes presidential nominee. This was an interview on the 25th of September. That was what, Monday?
So are you going to campaign for Katie Hobbs, the Democratic candidate for governor in Arizona?
Interesting.
As a result of that?
I'm going to do everything I can to make sure.
Very interesting. Anyway, I'm watching that. I'm making soap. And hope you all have a good time watching it. About to weigh out my lie. Getting my goggles.
To put the phone number back up to text in questions, we're going to talk a little bit longer, and then we're going to go to audience questions. 2022 election. Are the Republicans going to take back the House?
I think it's a closer run thing than people think. Obviously, Republicans have the advantage right now if you look historically at the midterms and at the numbers at issue. And also the way that the districts get drawn.
Yeah.
But I think that, the independent voter and the moderate Democrats and the moderate Republicans around this country want sanity. And they want responsibility. And they want to know that their elected officials are serious. And so, I would urge people when they're, going to go into the voting booth and cast their vote, policy and substance matters, no question that it matters. But you ought to think very carefully about making sure the people you vote for are serious. And I mean that on both sides of the aisle. You need competent, serious people making these decisions.
At this point, Representative, would you prefer the Democrats hold the majority to the Republicans winning it back?
I think that...
Are you a restaurant owner? Protect your business with
She paused on that
insurance.
question.
Next,
Interesting.
your restaurant seasonality.
She's
So
still
you can
playing
save big and
politics.
go easy
It's
on
not
your
about
restaurant.
what's best for
That's just the
people in the country.
Next covers over 300,000
Okay, wait, there's a
businesses
commercial.
like you with a 4.8.
That's a tough question.
Or it's an easy answer.
No, I mean, look, I think that policies of the Biden administration, there are a lot of bad policies in terms of, for example, what we're seeing now with respect to inflation, what we're seeing with respect to government spending. And so, I'm not a supporter of those policies.
Right.
And I think that it's very important that we not create a situation where we get more of those policies. I think it's really important, though, as voters are going to vote, that they recognize and understand what the Republican conference consists of in the House of Representatives today.
Yep.
And how much power the election deniers, the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Jim Jordan, how much power those people will have in the Republican majority. And I think that's a dangerous thing for the country.
Should Kevin McCarthy be Speaker?
No.
No. Okay. Just
I think I need a bigger
I say that because
bowl for my lie.
the Speaker of the House is the second in line to the President.
Yep.
Presidency after the Vice President. And at every single moment when, our time of testing came, and Kevin had to make a decision about what he was going to do, he's made the politically easy for him, or the politically expedient decision, instead of what the country needed.
right.
And I think that, somebody who's going to be that close to the presidency needs to be somebody who's faithful
Right.
to the Constitution.
Do you have any doubt, Representative? Do you have any doubt that if the Republicans take back the majority, they will kill the 1-6 committee?
No.
No doubt at all.
No, and I think people ought to also think about
You want that to be a thing that people vote on the basis of?
Yeah, people really ought to stop and consider what it means that the Republicans don't want January 6th investigated. Why are they working so hard to keep it from being investigated?
Are you going to run for president?
Sounds like a yes poet to me.
I think about this. This is a question that I get.
Sure.
You may have known that. But I think it's really important not to just immediately jump into the horse race. And I think about what we need as a country. And, you know, we have to step back from the abyss.
I need a bigger
And
space.
we have to recognize that there's this shift going on in our politics. The tectonic plates are shifting. And that means that we all have a responsibility to say to ourselves, what are we going to do to make sure that our kids, know what it means to have peaceful transfers of power? And what are we going to do to make sure that we don't contribute to unraveling of the republic? And I think that's a much bigger question. And that's what I'm focused on rather than who's running and...
Right, but what's the mechanism? Of course, Representative, if you're a former state representative is one thing. You don't have the stage that you have had or that you would have if you chose to seek office at the highest level. So what's the mechanism for carrying that message?
Well, I don't think you should doubt my capability to do that.
Mr. President or not, I have the ability to get my message across.
I have been incredibly moved. Look, when you're an elected official, I think all of us are accustomed to people who come up to you and say, thank you for your vote on tax policy, or your vote on tax policy sucks. I mean, you get both of those things.
Yeah.
But there's something else that is happening around the country now, because people understand how high these stakes are. And it's not about me or making a decision about what I'm going to do. It's about making sure I do whatever I can do.
So this is a full milk and papaya pulp soap. So there's no water added to melt the lye. It's all being melted with frozen milk and papaya juice and pulp and seeds. Papaya is being added as an additional ingredient to help with hyperpigmentation, which are dark spots, and evening out skin tone, helping to even out skin tone. So we're going to have turmeric in the soap as well as papaya. And they both tend to do that. But the turmeric can do a little bit more. Because it's going to help with inflammation if you're dealing with acne. A lot of times acne comes with inflammation.
Last thing on this. And if that means, if you determine between now
Sorry, I
and
missed what they said.
the best way for you to keep him from winning the presidency again is for you to seek it yourself, you're holding open the possibility.
I will do whatever it takes to make sure he's never near the White House.
Okay. Representative, I'm going to invite my colleague Brendan Formby, one of our editors, on stage.
She didn't say she'll do whatever it takes legally. She said it will do whatever it takes.
Please give us,
what does that mean?
Assuming that the margins of victory in the upcoming midterm elections are
we're assuming that she's not thinking anything illegal, of course.
to ensure that the integrity
But she didn't say it.
of the results will be upheld and the duly elected officials get to take their seats?
Well, I think this is one of many reasons why elections matter so much, and it's the point that Evan and I were talking about, that in this election you have to vote for the person who actually believes in democracy, and that is just crucial, because if we elect election deniers, if we elect people who've said that they're not going to certify results or who are going to try to steal elections, then we really are putting the Republic at risk.
May I follow up on that, just ask the representative, please? So in a place like Pennsylvania, for instance, where you have a race for governor between the current Attorney General Josh Shapiro and Doug Mastriano, who is an election denier himself, should Shapiro win that race, polls are suggesting he might. It seems entirely plausible that Mastriano will claim that the election was stolen. what is the recourse in that case for people in Pennsylvania, or for that matter for Shapiro? Do they
I
just
think
ignore
people will start to
Mastriano,
get
don't give
annoyed
any
with that.
oxygen so the match extinguishes? What do
Election
they do?
stolen. All the
I
elections
think
are
that what
being stolen.
happens in Pennsylvania, first of all, we have to make sure Mastriano doesn't win. Secondly, I think that this goes back to the responsibility and the obligation of elected Republicans. And this is why it's so dangerous
elected anybody
when you
officials,
have,
not
you know,
just Republicans.
the leader of the House of Representatives suggesting that the election, you know, and you go back and look at what he said in the days after the election. Well, it's not over. Donald Trump won. When you have the leadership saying, yes, you know, there was fraud sufficient that it could have overturned the election. Those words matter, and we have to have leaders who understand that this isn't a game. So that means you have to elect the right people in Pennsylvania, and you've also got to elect the right people at a national level and to federal office representing Pennsylvania. But that's the fundamental.
Realistically, what will the consequences of the committee's work be?
What I'm doing right now is a little on the
$67.
dangerous
You
side
can make as many videos
because
as you want, and you never need to
it's
pick
just
up a
pure,
camera.
it's just pure lie.
Well, our responsibility is
You definitely don't want this splashing
to
anywhere.
investigate legislative proposals, potentially to make.
I definitely want to break up the
And so our work isn't done yet,
bits.
and we'll see how that goes. But I think certainly
Frozen bits of
the
pulp.
extent to which people, and let me just say on that, one of the things that surprised me the most about my work is how sophisticated the plan was that Donald Trump was involved in and oversaw at every step of the way. It was a multi-part plan that he oversaw, he was involved in personally and directly. And whether we're talking about the effort to pressure the vice president, his effort to directly pressure the Justice Department, state officials, and I think making sure around the country understand this point. On January 6th, while the attack was happening, while police officers at the Capitol were being beaten, while they were being engaged in hand-to-hand combat, while the violent mob was attempting to stop the functioning of our democracy and assaulting our Capitol, while his family was pleading with him to please tell the mob to go home, while his most senior officials were pleading with him, please tell the mob to go home, while leaders in Congress were begging him, please tell the mob to go home, Donald Trump wouldn't. And just set the politics aside for a minute and think to yourselves, what kind of human being does that? What kind of human being sits for 187 minutes when he's the only one who can stop it, and he knows what's happening, and he refuses to take action? And I think that part of our obligation as a committee is to make sure people understand and know what he did and what he didn't do.
Is it possible that believing... You just made a number of declarative statements. No hedging. He did this, he did this, he did this. Can you see a scenario where what you just said is what you believe and there's no criminal referral?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of
I understand. Because this one position whether the committee has to be unanimous. Action on the back end of this.
I think well, whatever action we take.
Whatever action you take, you think you're not going to have to be, shopping for votes on the committee. No, okay, Brandon.
Or were there already conditions?
Just realized I didn't have my camera all the way up. I'm like, why is that so low?
Yeah, I mean, I also don't think that my party has
Wait, I missed
refused
that. She said he's the
in the
only
months since
president.
then to stand, when he's the only one who can stop it, and he knows what's happening, and he refuses to take action. And I think that our obligation as a committee is to make sure that people understand and know what.
Is it possible that the leader? Just made a number of declarative statements. He did this, he did this, he did this. Can you see a scenario where what you just said is what you believe and there's no criminal referral?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of the committee.
Well, I understand that. Does this work in such a way where the committee has to be unanimous in its decision to make a criminal referral or to take any other action on the back end of this?
I think we will be unanimous.
You think you will? Okay.
Well, whatever action we take.
Whatever action you think you're not going to have to be,
counts. But
Do you think that Trump brought your party to the state it's in now, or were there already conditions within the party that brought about his emergence?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, thinking of it, I think that there are a lot of problems in both parties in America today. And so I don't want to say the Republicans are solely responsible for where we are politically. And I also don't think that Donald Trump is part of a continuum. I think that Donald Trump is the only president in American history who refused to guarantee a peaceful transition of power. And so now, the fact that my party has refused in the months since then to stand up to him, I think does tell you how sick the party is, and how much work we have to do to get back to a place. The country's got to have.
How many of you think she's trying to start a new party?
Conservative principles and
Not saying that's a bad or good thing. Put in the comments below. Because that's what it sounds like to me. She's making a move to start a new party.
So that we can have substantive debates. So
I could be wrong.
I do think we need to get back to a substance-based politics.
You used the phrase "my party" just now. I know that Jonathan Carlin, that May interview, asked you if you would remain a Republican nominated Donald Trump again. I'm going to ask you, will you remain a Republican, regardless of what happens in the next election?
I'm going to make sure Donald Trump, I'm doing everything I can to make sure he's not the nominee. And if he is the nominee, I won't be a Republican.
Well, she definitely won't be a Democrat, I don't think. So that right there, to me, tells me she's looking to start a new party.
Do you think that your party could be saved from Trump?
I do. I believe deeply in what he has stood for, and I believe in its history. And I, when I look back at, obviously the beginnings of my party with Abraham Lincoln, and leadership of presidents like Dwight Eisenhower and certainly Ronald Reagan and the Bush strong national defense and low taxes, and I think we have to have a Republican Party that can be trusted to fight for those things, and that can be trusted by, we have to be able to get independents to vote for Republicans if we want to win elections. And to do that, people have to be able to trust us. The Republican Party didn't have a platform in 2020. And I think that tells you a lot about the hard work we have to do. I'm not ready to give up on the party yet.
Brandon.
This question comes from a conservative audience member. They believe that Biden won. Would you advise them to boycott the midterm if the Republican candidates claim that the election was stolen?
No, I would advise them to vote against the election deniers.
It's better to stay in the fight than to withdraw in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, look,
I totally agree with that.
I really believe that, and I say this as somebody who's worked in countries around the world that aren't democracies, in the Middle East and in Asia, in Africa. I worked in Eastern Europe right after the wall came down. So I've seen societies where people are either struggling to gain their freedom or where they aren't living in freedom. And it is really, really fragile. And we have become accustomed to thinking, well, the United States, we could just take for granted that we are going to be a constitutional republic. And what we've seen over the course of the last couple of years is how that foundation is being chipped away at. And the most important obligation, not just elected officials have, but every single American, is to do your part to make sure the people who believe in what the election deniers are saying, the people who would tear the republic down, don't get power.
Okay. We've got time for a couple more. Go ahead.
Texas's Attorney General Ken Paxton was at the Stop the Steal rally. He also filed a lawsuit to try to overturn the results in some of the battleground states. Is the committee going to be looking into his role on January 6th?
Well, I don't want to comment with respect to the committee, but the lawsuit, the Texas v. Pennsylvania lawsuit, was absurd, and there was an effort underway to get a number of Republicans, and successful effort to get a number of Republican House members to sign an amicus brief in support of Texas's position, and it was, absolutely clear, particularly when you had allegations that were made about how other states had conducted their elections, Pennsylvania in particular, and the officials in Pennsylvania said it's just not true. That what you're saying about the way we conducted our elections is false. What you're saying about the rulings of the courts is false. It was without merit and should not have been filed. And the Supreme Court handled it.
Since January 2021, what is the best piece of advice that your father has given you?
That's a great question, too.
I talk to him every day, and so it's hard to pick one. But one moment I won't ever forget was actually on New Year's Day this year, and we were leaving their house, and we've been talking about
a little beetroot powder just to give a little contour and color.
As I was leaving, he gave me a
Beetroot powder
hug,
actually
and he said to
loses
me,
its color,
"Defend the Republic."
so I don't know
And
if this by itself will do it.
Thank you. Good. All right.
Major party nominees for what was acknowledged in the report to have been one of.
So I'm also going
Drones
to
are a
add.
lot of fun.
I think
But
that
if
was the end
yours
of that.
gets caught in power lines.
Add a little bit of fluorescent orange, not a lot, just a little bit. I want to do a bit of a swirl, and this soap is behaving very nicely, so it looks like it's giving me plenty of time to work with it. I'm putting 2 heaping spoonfuls of beetroot powder. Don't know if that will help or not. Yeah, that was...
Who crashes into a substation? The most sensitive FBI investigations. These agents
Yeah,
were
that was
supposed
the
to
end
have
of
been
that.
the best of the best, and we wouldn't expect anything less in that circumstance. They were supposed to be of the highest care.
So what do you guys think? It wasn't the whole interview. If you want to watch the whole interview, it's on YouTube. You can look on, I don't know what channel that was. What channel was that? Let me see. Where was it? Oh, that was CNN's channel. Yeah, that was an interview that CNN did. So if you want to see it, you could always go to their YouTube channel. It's titled, "I Won't Be a Republican, Liz Chaney, if Trump becomes the nominee." So I think she'll do everything she says in her power to stop him from being a nominee. This is not looking different in color. It's not looking any different in color. Don't know if there's anything I can do to help that out. I'm going to put a dab of titanium in here to make this one just a tad lighter. So I put some beetroot powder to make it darker. Put a little titanium to make this side lighter. And let's see, not a lot, just a little bit. Just giving this soap a little facelift when it comes to presentation, at least trying. This is one of my most popular soaps. It's an unscented soap. Really, really good facial bar. Because of the milk, it acts as a mild exfoliant. The alpha hydroxy acids in the milk helps to exfoliate skin, helps to remove dead skin cells. It's going to help to even out skin, help with inflammation. Ooh, I'm working in my pajamas. Helps with a lot of different things. Let's see. It's a little bit thicker. It's not bad. So yes, what say you guys? What say you? What do you think? Do you think that's her way of saying, look, either this Republican Party do more of what I think they should be doing, I'm going to start my own party. I think it was definitely a play for the White House, this interview. She doesn't say no either. She kind of, in my opinion, dances around that question, which is, you know, I guess it makes sense for her to do that. You want to kind of play your cards more politically, as they say. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. All right, so I'm going to pour this in the bottom. And then I'm going to add the accent color. And then I'm going to end with some more of this to help swirl that accent color in. All right, let's make this even. Doesn't look even. Okay, that one looks even. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just taking up the whole screen. Taking up the whole screen. Guess if I do it this way, you'll see it better. It won't take up the whole screen. Alright, so I'm going to add the accent color. It doesn't look much different as far as color. I'm just hoping it does show in the, you know what? In the final cut, that you were able to see a difference in color. You can now, but will it stay that way? That's the question. That is the question. The $1 million question. I'm wondering, I think I want this a little thicker. Let's see if I can do that. Not only am I going to make that a little thicker, I'm also going to, again, add a little more colorant. Just a little bit more on that side. it's a little bit more to make this side darker. Now this one is like a brick red. That should really, really help to bring a contrast. Because I really do want there to be a contrast. So I know it's going to be like it's 4 colors in there now, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. Making a mess. It's definitely a difference now. Definitely a difference in the color. So we will see how well that translates when we cut the soap. Well, the color difference, that is. How much of a difference? I'm going to show you in a second. As soon as Alright, so that's one color and that's the other. So you can see it's a definite, ooh, did I spill that? Big difference. Alright, so we're going to add more of this. To both. Pour it from kind of high, and it will be sure to get down to the bottom. And then we're going to add the remainder. I'm trying to get this even. Trying to get this even. So yeah, so that interview was very interesting. Very interesting to hear her try to play for the American people and say she's not playing politics. But once you're in the political field, to some regards, you're always playing politics, even if you're playing politics that does work for the people, for the most part. At least that's my opinion. I don't see anybody being in the political field and not playing politics. And then when she says, you know, she vote for people who, you know, take politics serious and don't see this as a game. To a certain extent, it is a game, unfortunately. You know, the political field is a game. It's a political game. And it shouldn't be, in my opinion, a game at all. And the politicians will say, no, it's not a game, but it is. That's how they take it. Who will win? It's not about what's best for the country, what we actually think is best for the country or for the people, or the country and the people. It's, how am I going to win? What will more of the people agree with? How will I stoke their emotions to get them to side with me? How can I spin the truth to make it look like my version of truth is better? You know, there's versions of the truth. And there's versions of untruth. There's not one truth. There's versions of it. How can I make my truth be more believable? That's the unfortunate part. It's not like, okay, how do we uncover the truth here and get people to see it? So this is a nice fall color. Even though there's no fall scents. And this is a soap that's good for any time of the year. Trust me, any time of the year. This is a good soap. Alright, this is it. The only thing left to do is to put a little texturing to the top. A little bit of texture. Once this thickens up a little more. And then we are done. We're going to let it sit 24 hours. Cut it tomorrow. It will go through saponification for 24 hours. And it will go from this liquidy stuff to bar soap. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Put your comments about what you heard on the Liz Chaney video down below. Thanks guys. See you in the next video. Bye.